Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today we have from Quinsigamond Community College, the president of that college, Louis G. Pedraja, right? Did I say?
Luis G. Pedraja.
Pedraja. He's going to correct me probably more than once because it's hard for me to pronounce. He is Ph.D. Welcome, Louis. You are originally from Cuba. When did you hit the States?
Well, I left Cuba when I was 6 years old.
Wow.
And then I spent a couple of years in Madrid, Spain, before coming to the United States in the early 70s. And I grew up in inner city Miami.
In Miami. Did you, when did you graduate college? In Miami?
No, I attended Stetson University, which is in north central Florida, and did my 4 years there.
You did your 4 years there. And then wait to hear all the colleges that Louis, oh my goodness. You became the first in your family to attend college, later earning a Ph.D. from the University of Virginia. Mm-hmm. You taught philosophy, ethics, religious studies at the University of Puget Sound and Southern Methodist University, where he served as a division chair and faculty senator. Was that your very first university position?
That was the first tenure track position. University of Puget Sound, I was finishing my doctorate, and I did a 1 year position there, and then the opportunity came up at Southern Methodist University. It's a research one institution. I would be teaching graduate students, so it was a wonderful opportunity.
No wonder you took it. That is fantastic. Now, you've served as president of La Comunidad of Hispanic Scholars in his discipline. You've advocated passionately, I love this, advocated passionately for increased higher education access for all people, especially marginalized people who have been underserved historically by the American higher education system. This grabbed your attention big time. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that.
Well, I'm a first-generation college student, English language learner, an immigrant. I grew up in inner city Miami, in very impoverished neighborhoods with a lot of violence and drug traffic. And my parents, who left Cuba, they hadn't ever done any college, and they left Cuba. My father had a produce store that he ran in Cuba. We had to leave everything behind. So when we came to the States, my parents always told me, son, study hard. They can take away anything from you, but they cannot take away your education.
So true.
And that kind of inspired me. That stuck with me. Education transforms lives. So I went to college, I got my graduate degree, and I wanted to pay it forward.
When did you graduate college?
I graduated college in 1984.
Oh, you're so young. Okay.
And then I went off and got my master's, and then I got my doctorate at the University of Virginia, and in philosophy and religion. And I went into teaching because I wanted to be like those professors who believed in me, that inspired me, my mentors, that always encouraged me. As a matter of fact, when I was in college, I had one professor who passed away a few years ago, but he wrote at the end of an exam, "Have you ever envisioned Luis Pedraja, Ph.D.?" I'm like,
have you ever what?
Have you ever envisioned Luis Pedraja, Ph.D.?
Yeah.
And then he put a scholarship form in the back and wrote, "Keep it up, get an A, and I'll nominate you for this." And he did, and I got it.
I bet your family was over the moon.
Oh, yeah, and it was just wonderful. And I wanted to do something with my life. I never realized. Ph.D., And if you think about it, when I was growing up in inner city Miami, where some of my friends were getting into trouble, there were drugs, there was the house next door got firebombed. I mean, it was a violent neighborhood.
Yeah.
You hear about guns and getting into schools today. There were guns in school back then when I was going to high school. And to think that at that time, if you had told me, "Oh, you're going to be a president of a college in Massachusetts one day," I wouldn't have believed you. I would have laughed.
Yeah.
But higher education transformed my life. It made a difference in my life. I believe it can make that difference in other people's lives. So that's what inspired me. I want to see people who might not have imagined themselves in college to be able to dream and to say, you can do it. So what drives me is the desire to pay it forward, to see students have the same opportunities that I had. And I believe that's possible. And then working at a community college, I worked a lot in 4 years and research ones, and I did all the publish a couple of books and all that. But the reality is I was always drawn to social justice, to making a difference. And when I started working with community colleges and started realizing the work that they do, community colleges they're social justice catalysts. They prepare the workforce, they open doors, and I felt, that's a place I can feel at home. That's where I can transform lives. That's where I can make a difference. And the first time I was in a community college, I remember I was with my wife, and I would always like to I would tell her, I want to serve the underserved, I want to make a difference. And so we're driving next to the college, there was all this is in California, and there was all this homeless encampments and poor housing, and she said to me, you want to serve the underserved?
Right there.
Here they are. And that's a reality.
What did you think when she said that?
I said, oh boy.
You got your work cut out for you.
I have my work cut out because it's not just opening the doors and making it accessible, making sure they have equitable opportunities for success. It's also communicating to them that they can do it, that their dreams are possible, that forget everything that people have taught you about obstacles and why you can't do it. If I can do it, they can do it, and it can open up doors for you.
So you're the power of example. Definitely. Now, you were the Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs at Antioch in the University in Los Angeles.
Correct.
Now, how'd you get into that one? That's great.
For some years I have worked in accreditation, trying to do quality assurance for the different colleges and universities throughout the world, really. I have worked with some international organizations, ministries of education, and the one thing I kept missing is seeing the students, working with the faculty, making that direct transformation. I was changing policy and I was opening doors.
You wanted the person to person, right?
But I wanted that person to person. I wanted to see directly the fruits of my labor, and I missed that opportunity. And the other thing is I always felt that attraction to social justice, to mission-driven organizations. And Antioch University of Los Angeles was definitely a mission place, social justice minded institution. So when the opportunity came up, I thought that would be a good fit.
We are talking with Louis Pedraja, I got it, Ph.D. over at he's the president of Quinsigamond Community College. How can they reach you, Louis, if they would be interested?
The best way to reach me is to email me at president@qcc.mass.edu.
You have innovative programs over there that didn't you start yourself at Quinsig, or were they there and you ran with them?
Well, there were some programs that were there, and to me it was just a question of scaling them up, and there are others that we try to initiate. And for me, one of the things when I first came in, I know the important role that mentors play in particularly first-generation, low-income minority students. Because if I ask my parents, how do you pick classes or filling out the financial aid forms of FAFSA, my parents had to hire an accountant. They had no clue.
No? How did you do that? How did you do it? Your parents didn't know how to do it.
And it was really the mentors, people in the community that took interest. My mom had worked as a custodian and a teacher's aide at a junior high where I had gone to junior high, and some of the teachers that had me help me prepare for some of the graduate exams. When I was in high school, I had other people, whether it was in the church, in the community, at the high school, that helped me navigate all those turbulent and scary waters of higher education.
All that paperwork.
Exactly. And that's what motivated me to start thinking, okay, how can we reach out to the community? And one of the things that I felt was important was mentorship, because I had a lot of unofficial mentors that guided me, and people that could help me navigate, and things that my parents couldn't help me, and things that I did not know. So there was some mentorship programs there. There was more volunteers from the college and the faculty and the staff that were helping young men and young women to get mentored. And I wanted to scale that up and bring in people from the community. So we found people to partner with us. So there was multiple groups that, such as ABBY, the City of Worcester, the Bar Association, and other community groups. And I know I will forget some, but they made a difference in joining ranks with us, and just members of the community that said, I want to help a student. So it tied the community to our students and gave us students that encouragement, that ability to have someone that could ask questions, and it helped the community understand who our students are.
This is funny. Now, you have volunteered extensively with the he's got a list of things. The American Red Cross Disaster Services and Local Emergency Management. Also served on nonprofit boards and co-founded 2 nonprofit organizations, one focused on animal rescue and the other on supporting cancer patient families. You're doing it all. This is great. You're covering so many bases.
Yeah, well, I didn't cover them all at once. Somebody wanted me. So for a long time, while I was a professor and even an administrator, I did a lot of volunteer work. Disaster services was something that I was drawn to, in part because when Hurricane Andrew hit Florida and my family was affected, I saw the firsthand the impact of such a large-scale disaster. I felt helpless and I wanted to make a difference. So I volunteer, and I did that for many years. Even when I was a professor at SMU, I was head of the disaster action teams in Dallas for the Red Cross. In Memphis, when I was a dean and a vice president, I was a reserve officer with the Emergency Management Agency. And a translator, because at the time they would call 911. There were not people. People didn't always understand Spanish. So,
by any chance, over at UMass Memorial Medical Center, they are fantastic. I don't know how many translators they have there. They have to. It's a smorgasbord of cultures. Have you ever served as the Cuban translator for patients coming in who don't speak English? I
haven't done that because right now there's so many more resources. There was a time that you didn't have that many. And in communities like Worcester and Central Massachusetts, there are a lot of Spanish speakers and professional people that can do that work. We do train people in medical translating. And
you do? At Quincy?
At Quincy. There's some programs that we have that have helped on that, as well as other areas. And there are a lot more resources and phone resources that can make that difference. Back when I was volunteering, particularly in smaller towns or like in the Midwest, there was growing Spanish speaking communities, but there were not enough people to really help translate. So I had a pager, and they would page me when they needed translation.
That's fantastic.
But it's, again, about giving back to the community, making sure that people are taken care of. That's part of what always has driven me to service.
You have been the president at QCC, Quinsigamond Community College, since July 10th, 2017. Now, for those of you who are watching all over the country, not just here in Upton and Worcester and all, Quinsigamond Community College, which is it more towards the West Boylston side of Massachusetts?
It's just in the northern part of Worcester.
Yeah, I know I've driven up by there, very much so. Now, as the president, he has brought some terrific, I'm going to bring them over to the Upton Community Center. I'll leave them there for you folks to enjoy. A lot of them. Explore QCC. Who designed the cover of this?
Oh, our excellent team in communications.
This talks about the different things you could obviously transfer. Welcome, and there he is, right there. One of the students, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the buildings. How old is QCC?
QCC started it in 1963, so we're celebrating our 60th anniversary, and it began in Holy Cross. Then it moved to a place of now I can't remember the name of the street. Before it came down and took up what used to be Assumption Prep, that area, and those buildings.
It was part of Holy Cross?
That was one of the things as we're starting to look at in 1963. We didn't have this space, so back then Holy Cross offered some space.
Yeah.
So the first year we were there, and then eventually moved to a location.
I had no idea. When you're driving along Southbridge Street and you look up and you see Holy Cross, I've always thought it looked like it was out of the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
It has that look about it. I used to live up near there. Beautiful campus.
Yes.
And Quinsig. I mean, I think if I had it to do over again, if I lived near Worcester or whatever, I would probably go to Quinsig. I like the idea of as you mentioned, the community college. I went too far away. I mean, I was like 3 hours from home, way up in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. Yes, beautiful. But I was so homesick. It was awful. My parents would come get me every weekend for the first 3 months, and then I got used to it. But I just wasn't used to that kind of thing. You can get your associate's degree. Look at all. Oh my God. Oh, I love this. Public and social services, criminal justice.
Mm-hmm.
Do you teach any of these, Louis?
Personally, no.
No.
But we have wonderful, dedicated, and committed, excellent faculty that work with our students and teach a whole array of programs. We even have a police academy. One of the, I think it's the only one at community college right now that trains future police officers, a lot of the first responders in central Massachusetts, firefighters, EMT, and then a lot of our healthcare. They go through QCC. We train nurses, and we train EMTs, and we train medical assistants. So
you can go there if you want to become a nurse and get your degree.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. 15-1. This is terrific. Student to faculty ratio. I remember in high school, I think I was in a class with almost 30 kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is 15-1. There are 35 clubs, teams, 35 plus, and organizations, career and workforce development, student scholarships available. How tough is it to get one of those, I wonder?
Well, the thing that people don't tend to realize is a community college degree is fairly affordable compared to other places. And nowadays, with financial aid and some of the increases that are done to some of the grants, sometimes it covers most of the tuition and fees. There's also a new program that the state started for residents of Massachusetts, Mass Reconnect, and that's for people who are 25 years and up who haven't finished any their college degree. They haven't. Maybe they started. Maybe they never started.
Yeah.
The state covers the gap between financial aid, anything the financial aid doesn't cover, and the cost of the fees and the cost of tuition.
Can you live there, or you have to commute?
We are a commuter campus. We don't have
commuter
dorms.
campus.
But we do give them. For full-time students, $600 towards books, or $300 for part-time students. But it helps. You can go to college basically with no out-of-pocket costs.
No, but who knew this? And isn't there something that I have read about college? A lot of if you look in the obituaries, people are living into their hundreds now. Great. Now, people are going back to college in their 70s and 80s. Now, isn't it free of cost for a senior to go back to college?
I think in the same Massachusetts, after a certain age, you can attend.
Isn't that fantastic?
And not only that, we've a while back, we've had partners with ARP and others because there are programs for people who are older, 55 and over, and or people who are just thinking, I've been doing this my whole life. I need a change.
Yeah.
We're seeing people that were maybe in business but want to go to healthcare, or people that wanted to open their own restaurant. So we have culinary programs there, and hospitality. There are people that might have been working their whole life, maybe never finished college and want to come and get that degree, maybe reinvent themselves. And we're in a time that the workforce is rapidly changing. Many of the jobs that are coming into existence and the future jobs didn't exist a decade ago, 5 years ago. Some have not been invented yet.
Yeah.
I mean, if you talk about somebody who's hosting a television show in basically social media and live streaming nowadays, and influencers, were those around a while back?
I don't know what my grandparents would have.
They wouldn't have known. So jobs are shifting rapidly.
Yeah.
Technology is shifting. Now we have things like ChatGPT, the artificial intelligence. When you start looking at all these things that are changing, if you want to stay employed, if you want to stay able to be competitive in the job market, you have to acquire this training. But it doesn't mean that you finish your degree and that's it. You got to continually be learning and reinventing yourself.
I love that term, reinventing.
Absolutely. And
that comes naturally to some people, like entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneurs do it, but we're all going to have to do it.
Yeah.
I never imagined what I was going to be nowadays when I was started out. So you get a degree, and then all of a sudden you want to shift gears, or you need to shift gears, and your company closed, or
you're bored. You want something different.
You want something different. And community college offers you an affordable pathways. We have things like credit for prior learning. You have work experience. We assess that. You can get college credit for that, and it's a very low cost. You don't have to pay the full cost. It's just the assessment cost. You can take things like paid apprenticeship. We've been working with the state and with other agencies like the Smith Family Foundation to raise awareness, but also to work with industry to build more apprenticeships so students can learn and earn at the same time. There's workforce certificates, so you don't have to get a full college degree. We have a short-term degree that's about 10 weeks long that prepares students, particularly immigrants, people who are coming in, who are new, to be techs in the growing biotech industry that we have here in central Massachusetts. And that prepares them to get good paying jobs, and it opens the door, because then you can take that and you start working, you're able to afford a little more, you want more education, you get the thirst for knowledge, so you go back and get another degree. Maybe you become a nurse, or you become a researcher, you develop some business expertise, and you go into management and those in that same industry, or you reinvent yourself and go into another industry. But that's what community college will be. That's the workforce of the future, is to create flexibility through multiple approaches, from apprenticeship, competency-based learning, hybrid learning, so you do something online and something in person, because that mix works better than just fully online. People need that face-to-face, the hands-on. You can do so much at community colleges nowadays.
Well, how could people, if somebody, this is just terrific. We're talking with Louis Pedraja. He's a Ph.D. president of Quinsigamond Community College. Somebody's they're watching this, they're thinking, well then, who do I connect with? How do I get in touch with the college so that I can apply or get more information how I might be able to get in?
Well, they can just go to our website,
What's that?
QCC Mass EDU, and just look for admissions, or they can connect directly with our admissions office to find out about admissions. But just discover the program. Since this is national, there might be local community colleges also in your region. For those that might be watching in other places, well, it's too far. Look for those community colleges, because community colleges open the doors. They are able to give you an equitable opportunity to gain an education, to reinvent yourself, to make your dreams come true. It'll help you be more competitive, and a trained workforce. Most of the jobs that are opening or will open are going to require at least some college, because you need those specialized training. I would talk to my auto mechanic faculty, for instance. There was a time I could change the oil, knew how to change batteries. I don't want to touch that because it's all computers. As we get into self-driving cars and so much, you need as much advanced knowledge of computing and other things that you need about carburation and internal combustion engines. You need to know batteries and electrical engines. So it's expanding, and all industries, not just in that area, are expanding.
I know that when you go to some of the, this drives me bananas. You go to some of the doctor's offices. I understand they give you the papers on the clipboard to fill out, what are your medications. I got it. But then some of them hand you this tablet. And I remember the first time I went, why are you giving me this? I just gave you all. Well, and I said, well, how do I use it? Right now, you're going to tap this answer here. You're going to scroll like this. I'm like, I got used to it. I got used to it. But I just, I'm like, to me, it feels almost like they're complicating life instead of making it easier. Maybe it's just my generation, but I'm like, it's a peculiar feeling. Louis, one more time, how can they get a hold of you at the college?
You can email me at president@qcc.mass.edu, or you can just go to the website of the college, and that'll give you an opportunity to learn more about who we are and what we're doing.
Do you miss teaching?
I miss teaching.
I'll bet you were good.
I love teaching.
Yeah. What was your favorite topic to teach?
I used to love teaching philosophy and introduction to philosophy.
Yeah.
When you see the students get it, and help them think and develop those critical reasoning skills. Because nowadays we're bombarded with information. It's very easy to just take it for granted. You got to think through stuff. You have to become more knowledgeable and more experienced to navigate the currents of information that are available to us nowadays.
Well, it's great to have him on board over at Quinsigamond Community College, and there'll be these brochures will be over at the Upton Community Center right as you come in the door. I will leave them there for you to take and read. Did you bring something with you wanted to show us before we close?
No, I just have brought some statistics. Yeah. We have a lot of diversity in our college, age-wise.
Everybody's welcome, right?
Yeah, and 75% of our students are part-time.
Yeah.
We have veterans. We have working adults. We have single mothers or single fathers or single
parents.
Veterans
too, yeah.
We have a lot of immigrants and English language learners. We represent the city that we serve and the world. And we have open doors and we have resources to support you.
I love it. Thank you, Louis, for being with us so much.
Thank you.
Give him a call if you're interested. Get on the online there and connect with the president and find out more about QCC, because boy, I wish I'd known about it. When I went to college, I thought you had to go to that strict 4-year thing. All the other kids were going, and it wasn't for me. By 2 years out, I was bored. I'm like, I'm not getting anywhere. This is just... Ugh. So then I left and went to business school and got out in 6 months. Not because I loved it, but I was good at it, the typing of it. We will say goodbye to Louis. Thank you again. See you next time and be my guest.
Riding on a shooting star, heading out toward a dream. Tomorrow's even closer than it seems.